If you remember, a few weeks ago, we started a 5-part series about the best roller coaster of every single country. Part 1 was North America and Part 2 was South America. But now, it's time for Part 3, Europe. And oh boy, is this video going to take a while. So sit back, get comfortable, get some snacks, get some drinks, cause today I'm Callaway Coasters and you're watching the best roller coaster of every single country Part 3, Europe.
I'm standing at the edge now, it's about to go down. I'm gonna take it higher. It's time for me to light it so they can't deny it. Hey, bring that fire. Bring that fire. Bring that fire.
Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you'll be notified when the next video gets uploaded. If you are new to the series, this is how we proceed. We're going to talk about the best coaster currently in operation in each country. If there was a coaster in the past that was better than the coaster that the country currently has, it will be mentioned. These countries will be ranked on a tier list based on their current best coaster. Before we get started, let's take a moment to mention the countries in Europe with no roller coasters. These are Iceland, Liechtenstein, Monaco, San Marino, and the Vatican City. Also, let's mention the territories. These are Gibraltar, the Faroe Islands, and Northern Cyprus. Alright, let's get into it. We're starting off with the unrecognized / semi-independent nations. And the first one is the Åland Islands. This Swedish-speaking autonomous region of Finland has only ever had one roller coaster, mini roller coaster at Ålandsparken. This was a Zamperla-powered coaster that operated from an unknown date to sometime during or before September 2nd, 2003. I'm going to put the Åland Islands in the D tier. Gagauzia. Now, I was torn on the idea of do I include Gagauzia and Transnistria or do I assume they're part of Moldova? But ultimately, I decided to include them because they're culturally different enough to qualify. Gagauzia has only ever had 2 roller coasters, and only one of them is still in operation, Dragon at Gagauzialand. This is an oval-shaped family coaster. The other coaster is an unnamed roller coaster at Parcours Central. This looks like an SBF Visa takeoff, and it operated from sometime during or before 2012 to sometime during or before 2014. I'm going to put Gagauzia at the top of the D tier. Transnistria. Transnistria only has one roller coaster, Funny Slides at Victory Park. This is a twin helix powered coaster. I'm going to put Transnistria at the top of the D tier. Ireland. Ireland has 2 major coasters, both at Emerald Park. One of them is Cuchulainn, a large gravity group wind coaster, and the other one is Nafiana Force, a Vekoma suspended thrill coaster. I'm going to pick Cuchulainn for this one. I'm going to put Ireland in the B tier. United Kingdom. I'm going to split the UK for this one. England. Pretty much like the US, England has a huge collection of world-class roller coasters, and 3 parks have some of England's best coasters. Alton Towers has the Smiler and Nemesis Reborn, and Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Pleasure Beach Resort has the big one to round out the collection. But Fort Park is at the head of the group with rides such as the Swarm, Colossus, Nemesis Inferno, and of course, Hyperia. Hyperia is the tallest roller coaster in the UK and has some crazy elements, including the outward bank stall and a zero-G stall. It's an out-of-control roller coaster, and obviously, it's the best coaster in England. And England deserves the S tier. Wales. Before 2024, I would have said either Megaphobia or Speed No Limits at Oakwood Theme Park. Unfortunately, Oakwood closed in 2024, and the other coasters in Wales are not that exciting. And I've only chosen 1 out of 3 possible options. These 3 possible options were Cyclone, an SBF Visa Cyclone coaster at Barry Island Amusement Park, Magic Mouse, a Reverchon spinning wild mouse at Funland, and the Forest Coaster at Zip World for Forest, a vegan alpine coaster. And I chose the latter. I hope Wales gets another theme park like Oakwood, but until then, it belongs at the top of the D tier. Scotland. Scotland's best operating coaster is Runaway Mine Train at M&D Scotland's theme park. This is a Barbizon family coaster. Nothing exciting, but Scotland used to have a few extreme coasters, including Tornado, also at M&D's. This was a Pinfari RC70, and it was notorious for being extremely rough. It also once even had a corkscrew that was so bad that it had to be removed in 2006. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask, Tornado was removed in 2020 and sent to Parc d'Attractions Marseille-en-Plage in France and renamed Gotham. And according to EDB Attractions, it was not that bad and could be better with new trains. But if you thought that Tornado was not the best coaster in Scotland, but rather the worst, then enjoy Coca-Cola Roller, a Vekoma boomerang that used to operate at Glasgow Garden Festival. I'm going to put Scotland in the D tier just below Wales. Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland's best coaster is Black Bull Run at Cullen Glen Forest Park, a Brandauer single-rail mountain coaster. I'm going to put Northern Ireland at the top of the D tier. Isle of Man. The Isle of Man no longer has any roller coasters, but they used to have 2. One of them was Roller Coaster at White City, a figure-8 side friction wooden coaster that operated from 1909 to 1974. The other coaster was an unnamed roller coaster at Summerland. This was a Skyrider Thrills Skytrack. It probably looked something like this. I'm going to put the Isle of Man at the bottom of the D tier. Denmark. From the country that brought us Legos, we have 3 amazing coasters. Phoenix at Farup Summerland is the only Vekoma Wildcat in the world. You also got your Intamin Ultra Coaster in Piraten at Djurs Summerland, but also you have the best coaster in Denmark, Tornado at Bakken, an Intamin spinning coaster with a launch chain lift. And it's a dizzying experience that is both out of control and thrilling, especially if you get boost mode, where they spin you out of the station and increase the speed of the chain lift. This is the best coaster in Denmark without question. I'm going to put Denmark in the A tier. Norway. Norway has 2 major coasters, both of them at Tusenfryd. You have Speed Monster, an Intamin accelerator coaster. This has to be the most anticlimactic hydraulic launch coaster in the world. The other coaster is Storm the Dragon Legend, a Gerstlauer Infinity inverted coaster. And I'm going to pick Storm. I'm going to put Norway in the C tier. Sweden. From the country that brought us IKEA, we have 3 amazing coasters. 2 of them at Liseberg in Helix and Valkyria. Helix is a Macride's launch coaster with a banger of a soundtrack. Though, despite being called Helix, it does not have a helix. Valkyria is a B&M dive coaster. But the best coaster in Sweden is Wildfire at Kolmarden, an RMC Topper Track wooden coaster. And it's crazy that such an insane coaster is located inside a zoo. I'm going to put Sweden at the top of the A tier. Finland. Finland has 2 amazing launch coasters. You have an Intamin LSM launch coaster called Taiga at Linnanmäki and a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster called Junker at Power Park. And I'm going to pick Taiga. I'm going to put Finland at the bottom of the A tier. Portugal. Portugal only has 2 extreme coasters, both located at Aquashow Family Park. One of them is a Macride's water coaster called Water Coaster, and the other one is Flash Coaster, a Macride's launch coaster that packs some crazy elements in a compact footprint. I'm going to put Portugal at the bottom of the C tier. Spain. When it comes to Spain, it really only boils down to 2 coasters. Shambhala at Port Aventura, a B&M Hyper, and Batman Gotham City Escape at Parque Warner Madrid, an Intamin LSM launch coaster. Many people would choose Batman Gotham City Escape, so I choose it too. I'm going to put Spain at the top of the A tier. Andorra. This micronation between Spain and France only has 2 roller coasters, and they are both vegan alpine coasters. One of them is Magic Gliss at Mont Magic Family Park, an alpine coaster that gives some pretty good views. The other one is Tobotronc at Naturland, the world's longest roller coaster. And I'm picking Tobotronc because I'd prefer a long alpine coaster over an alpine coaster that gives great views. I'm putting Andorra in the D tier just below Northern Ireland. France. France has a decent collection of roller coasters, and it starts at Nigloland with Alpine Blitz, a Macrise mega coaster. Nigloland will open next year Supersonic 1887, the second Max Striker coaster. But the best coaster in France is Toutatis at Parc Astérix, an Intamin LSM launch coaster. I'm going to put France in the A tier just below Spain. Germany. Germany is chock full of amazing roller coasters. You have Der Schur des Karnan at Hansa Park, a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster with an insane layout and a surprise on the lift hill inside that tower. I didn't ride the coaster, but I spoiled myself for that surprise, and I'm not going to spoil it to you. On top of that, Plopsaland Deutschland has Expedition G-Force, an Intamin mega coaster, but the best coaster in Germany is Voltron at Europa Park, the first Max Striker coaster, and it has some insane elements too. Germany joins England in the S tier. Luxembourg. Luxembourg does not have any permanent roller coasters, but they do have a few traveling coasters, and their biggest fair Schuberfauer sometimes has Alpinabahn, a non-looping Schwarzkopf coaster. I'm going to put Luxembourg at the top of the D tier. Belgium. Belgium has two great coasters. You have your Intamin mega coaster in Conde at Walibi, Belgium, but you also have what is regarded as the best roller coaster in the world, Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland, Belgium, an insane Mach Extreme spinning coaster, and I think that Coaster Studios' reaction is justified.
Oh my gosh!
What the actual was that?
Holy crap!
Belgium goes at the top of the S tier. The Netherlands. The Netherlands have an insane lineup of roller coasters, but Walibi Holland has an insane 1-2 punch with Goliath, a large Intamin mega coaster, and Untamed, an RMC hybrid, and I'm going to pick Untamed. I'm going to put the Netherlands in the A tier just below Spain. Poland. Poland has an amazing top 3, with Lech Coaster at Legendia, a Vekoma Lech Coaster, Hyperion at Energylandia, an Intamin Mega Coaster, and Zadra at Energylandia, a massive RMC hybrid. And I'm picking Zadra. Though, to be fair, Energylandia really needs to get their hands back on that tilt coaster. I'm putting Poland at the top of the A tier. Austria. Austria is home to one of the quirkiest amusement parks in the whole world, Vienna Prater, and they have some amazing coasters, including a Schwarzkopf looping coaster in Olympia Looping and a Macrides Big Dipper in Vienna Looping. And Vina looping looks like it gives some amazing hang time. But I'm picking Olympia looping for the best coaster in Austria because those Schwarzkopf loops look intense. I'm putting Austria at the bottom of the B tier. Hungary. You know what? Hungary's coaster collection really annoys me, and to understand why, we need to talk about Hullamvasút at Zoo Budapest, a scenic railway from the 1920s. Now, Zoo Budapest has a really complex history, but to keep it brief, because I might do an entire video about that in the future if you guys are interested, there was this zoo that opened in 1885 in Budapest. They added a bunch of amusement rides, and eventually in 1911, they combined the animal exhibits and the amusement section into one park called Angle Park. In 1950, that became an entire amusement park called the Dom Park, and they added a bunch of modern rides. Though the park closed in 2013, and they were left with the zoo nearby, this closed amusement park, and Hullamvasút, which couldn't be torn down because it was protected by the heritage of the city. So they decided to incorporate the Dom Park into the nearby zoo, into an amusement section for the zoo called Oldenvold Park. And what happened is that they only kept the significant and historic rides. They demolished everything except for a few rides and Hullamvasút. That didn't work out. The park closed in 2015 along with the zoo for renovations. The zoo reopened, but the amusement park didn't. And then, well, everything was SBNO, but recently they had enough. They completely tore down the amusement park, everything except Hullamvasút. And now we're left in the situation today. We have the scenic railway next to a zoo that is SBNO. It's out of service, we don't know when it will reopen, and it can't be torn down. And the thing is, Hungary's most intense coaster was at the Dom Park, and it was a Schwarzkopf looping star. You can find this coaster nowadays in Botswana as Gwazi at Lion Park Resort, and you will find that coaster in part 4. Now, the other coasters in Hungary are not that exciting, like Balatoni Hullamvasút at Zobori Elemeni Park is a zero force, but it closed with the park in 2024, and like that was their most intense coaster after Hullamvasút closed. And yeah, that is still SBNO, and it's just a family coaster. And now, all the other coasters in Hungary are either family coasters or alpine coasters. And out of these, I chose Extreme Bob, which is a Brandauer single rail mountain coaster. Like, Hungary really needs a new amusement park. And I lost my temper so hard in this section that I might have had a few blanks in my speech. But yeah, that's okay. I just want to prove my point that Hungary was this close to becoming on the level of Austria amusement park wise. But they fumbled it with the closure of Oldenvold Park, and here we are. D tier, bottom of D tier. I don't care if Extreme Bob is the same mall as Northern Ireland's best coaster. This whole Hullamvasút thing has lost me. Hungary goes at the bottom of the D tier. Switzerland. In the Alps you can find a lot of mountain coasters, and Switzerland has a lot of them, including Rodelbahn at Heimwürfel. This Brandauer single rail mountain coaster is so intense that if you ride it with no brakes, it whiplashes you at every turn. Even Coaster Studios was shocked. But Switzerland also has one major amusement park, Coneyland, and they have 2 extreme coasters. Well, as of now, only one. Cobra is a weird PAX shuttle coaster with a vertical loop and a unique element known as a scorpion tail, which is essentially a half loop into a straight piece of track upside down. The other coaster is slated to open in 2027, and it's called Maasai, and it's a launch Mack Big Dipper. I'm going to put Switzerland in the C tier, just below Norway. Italy. Italy has a good slew of great coasters. Gardaland has Oblivion the Black Hole, a B&M dive coaster, and Mirabilandia has 2 great coasters in Katoon, a B&M invert, and Ice Speed, an Intamin LSM launch coaster. And I'm picking Ice Speed. I'm putting Italy at the top of the B tier. Malta. Malta no longer has any permanent roller coasters, but they used to have one, a kiddie coaster made by a company called Supercar. This coaster operated at Popeye Village until 2009. Though I went online and I found this picture on Luna Park Malta's Google Maps page, and it shows a Zyklon called Roller Coaster, and it seems to have over-the-shoulder restraints? Why? Though I don't know if this coaster is still in operation. If it's not, then Luna Park Malta still has a wacky worm called Brucomella. Malta goes at the bottom of the D tier, but just above Hungary. Slovenia. Slovenia only has 4 coasters, but they are all mountain coasters, and 3 of them are single rail mountain coasters made by Brandauer. And I chose the longest one of these, Besna Petha at Kranjska Gora. I'm putting Slovenia in the D tier, just below Luxembourg. Czechia. Next year, Park Miraculum will open the Czech Republic's first large-scale roller coaster, a GCI Wind coaster with a very long layout and hopefully some great airtime moments. So I think we can check that one off the list. Czechia goes in the A tier, just below Poland. Slovakia. Pretty much like Slovenia, Slovakia only has mountain coasters, but they used to have something else, a Zyklon called Hosla Dracha at Bratislava Luna Park. Unfortunately, that closed in 2004. Mountain coaster wise, you have Bobova Dracha at Ski Bash Ledova, a single rail mountain coaster from Brandauer that measured 1,042 meters long. Unfortunately, that closed in 2024. The only other single rail mountain coaster from Brandauer in Slovakia is Bobova Dracha at Funpark Zjachce, which is shorter at 930 meters, but that's still the best coaster in Slovakia. I'm going to put Slovakia in the D tier, just above Slovenia. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Speaking of single rail mountain coasters, Bosnia and Herzegovina also has one, though this one is made by Sunkid. This is Planinski Bob at Olimpijski Centar Jahorina. One thing about this coaster is that it can be removed to not interfere with skiing. I'm going to put Bosnia and Herzegovina in the D tier, just below Northern Ireland. Croatia. Croatia's only extreme coaster is Big Blue at Dalmaland, the last Schwarzkopf Silver Arrow left in operation. So if you didn't get to ride Scorpion at Busch Gardens Tampa, you can still ride a clone in Croatia. I'm going to put Croatia at the bottom of the C tier. Montenegro. Montenegro only has one roller coaster, Bob Staza Alpine Coaster at Kotor Cable Car. This is a vegan Gen 2 Alpine coaster. I'm putting Montenegro in the D tier just below Andorra. Serbia. Serbia once had an extreme coaster, roller coaster at Beogradsky Luna Park. This was a Penfari looping Zyklon, however it's no longer in operation. The rest of the coasters in Serbia are either kid coasters or mountain coasters. The longest mountain coaster is a vegan alpine coaster called Bob na Sinama, located at Ski Centar Tornik. I'm going to put Serbia in the D tier just above Montenegro. Kosovo. Kosovo's biggest roller coaster is Roller Coaster at Pristina Park, which is just a Zyklon. I'm going to put Kosovo in the D tier just below Wales. Albania. Albania has only ever had 2 roller coasters in their history. One of them is Express at Luna Park Tirana, an oval-shaped powered coaster. Unfortunately, this was put into storage in 2026. Parku X Xuxat once had a Zamperla powered coaster up until 2017. But Luna Park in Durrës has a Zamperla powered coaster as well called Dragon, and this one is still in operation. I'm going to put Albania in the D tier just below Malta. North Macedonia. North Macedonia has never had a single permanent roller coaster in their entire lifespan. However, they do have a Zyklon at a fair somewhere in Skopje. I'm going to put North Macedonia in the D tier just below Kosovo. Greece. From 2003 to 2008, Magic Park in Thessaloniki had a Schwarzkopf catapult. However, Greece no longer has any extreme coasters. Their best coaster is Wild West Train at Luna Park, an LNT Systems family coaster. I'm going to put Greece in the D tier just below Gagauzia. Cyprus. Cyprus's best coaster is Wild Mouse at Parco Pagliazzo Luna Park. This is a Sartori ride spinning coaster. It is essentially a knockoff Zamperla spinning Wild Mouse. Though Cyprus used to have a bigger coaster, a Schwarzkopf Looping Star at the same park which operated until 2023. I'm going to put Cyprus in the C tier just above Croatia. Turkey. Turkey's best coaster is Hypercoaster at Land of Legends theme park. This Mack Hypercoaster has 2 inversions, the second tallest vertical loop in the world and a 0G roll, and has a pretty thrilling layout and seems to pull some amazing forces and hang time. I'm going to put Turkey at the top of the B tier. Bulgaria. Bulgaria's only extreme coaster is Loop Max Adrenaline at Luna Park Sunny Beach, a Pinfari looping cyclone. This is one of the worst looping coasters out there. I'm putting Bulgaria in the D tier, just below North Macedonia. Romania. Romania's largest roller coaster is Balaurul Chapte Capete at Parcul La Culte. This is a Preston and Barbieri Anaconda 2.0. Though it's been SBNO since last year, but I'm confident that this will reopen someday. I'm putting Romania in the D tier, just below Luxembourg. Moldova. The only thrill coaster in Moldova is roller coaster at Oreland, a cyclone. I'm putting Moldova in the D tier, just above Kosovo. Ukraine. Ukraine has a few of these types of looping coasters. These are the Rovella Malls by Analog. Sorry for my pronunciation, I do not speak Ukrainian. These looping coasters have very tight loops, and a layout that is also very compact. Though Ukraine has a few better coasters. Roller coaster at Central Park Kharkiv is a 0 ESC. But you also have a Vekoma Junior coaster called Crazy Races, located at Neopolis Indoor Theme Park, and I'm going to say that this is the best coaster in Ukraine. I'm going to put Ukraine at the bottom of the C tier. Belarus. Belarus also has an analog Rovella in roller coaster at Chelyuskinsev Park. However, Belarus's best coaster has to be Jumbo Jet in the same park. This is a Schwarzkopf Jumbo Jet, and believe it or not, this is the same Jumbo Jet that operated at Cedar Point. I'm going to put Belarus in the D tier, just below Luxembourg. Estonia. Estonia only has 2 roller coasters still in operation. One of them is Dino-Rong at Kadrioru Carousel. This is an oval-shaped K coaster. The other coaster is also at Kadrioru Carousel, and it's called Kulaka Vendis. It's an SBF Visa double coaster. And despite the mall name, no, this is not a dueling coaster. This is just a family coaster with 2 helices. Though Estonia used to have an interpark cyclone at Rocca al Mare Tivoli called America Maed. I don't know how to pronounce that. Though this operated from 1995 to sometime during or before 2006. I'm going to put Estonia in the D tier, just below Scotland. Latvia. Latvia has 2 mountain coasters. One of them is Toboggan Run at Ventspils Adventure Park, a vegan alpine coaster. The other one is a Brandauer single rail mountain coaster called Rodelu Trasse, located at wait, hold on.
Piedzīvojumu parks Tarzāns.
Anyways, I'm picking the single rail mountain coaster. I'm going to put Latvia in the D tier, just above Slovakia. And finally, Lithuania. A Schwarzkopf Jetstar 2 operated at Vaiukupė Salos from 1986 to 2012, and it has been SBNO since the park's closure. However, Lithuania does have 2 vegan alpine coasters. One of them is Alpine Coaster at Kalitos Kalnas. The other one is Vasaros Rogutes at Pramogų Kalnas. I'm picking the latter because it's longer. And I'm putting Lithuania in the D tier just below Andorra. When coaster enthusiasts talk about international roller coasters, they often turn their heads to Europe. And how can they be wrong? Europe has an amazing collection of world-class roller coasters. But not all European countries are the same. There are many countries out there which only have alpine coasters. But Europe is still at the heart of the amusement industry, with many countries offering some of the best roller coasters on the planet. One thing to understand from Europe is that they will continue adding even more roller coasters. And maybe someday these lesser countries can have their coaster that will put them on the map. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and enable notifications. A like on this video would be appreciated as it ensures that more content like this can be created. Also, stay tuned for part 4, in which we will explore Africa. But until then, I'm Callaway Coasters. Feel the grip of Vortex, and I'll see you all in the next one.